Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, as you can imagine, it was definitely a conversation I wasn't expecting.
Caught you off
And
guard, I'm guessing.
said again.
I bet it caught you off guard completely.
Yeah, definitely. Especially considering, I went to three different doctors, and three different doctors told me I was fine. So the fact that I persisted is what made them decide to do some more checks, which now they've found whatever it is that they found, and now obviously it concerns me that the first thing they suggest is cutting out my thyroid, when as I say, if I didn't persist to tell them that something was wrong, they would be telling me right now that I'm fine. So what do you do, and why have they told me that it'd be a good idea to talk to you?
I think because of the nature of the diagnosis, when we tell people this kind of thing, it's nice to have your own designated nurse that can be there to support you.
Yeah.
If you have questions, if there's anything you want to know a bit more about, or even if it's just because you want to be able to come back and see the doctor, have another chat,
Yeah.
but then you don't have to call up and go around the houses. You can just let me know that.
Yeah.
Because I think the way things stand at the moment, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is literally, I've been back at work about 4 hours at this point, and I'm on
Yeah.
a phased return, so I'm
Yeah.
catching up with a
Yeah.
huge amount. So
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the discussion that you last had with Mr. Burke was that you weren't keen on surgery. He explained to you why that was our recommendation,
No,
but
no,
obviously
no,
we'll
no.
respect.
So sorry, he didn't explain
Yep,
to me
go on.
why. He didn't explain to me why that was his. He told me that it was cancerous. He didn't like. I would like to know if there's any other options first and foremost, because
So
I know that obviously, like, my thyroid come with me. I've had it for 47 years. I feel like I need my thyroid, as you can imagine. So
Well, we'll put it
yeah.
this way: we don't take them out unless we want to, and we do want to. The reason being is that when in cancer care and healthcare in general, you hear this phrase, and the phrase is gold standard of care, which means it's the clinically evidence-based proven treatment that is considered to be the best in terms of the best outcome for you.
Yeah.
So it's not the best outcome for the doctor or the best outcome for the hospital, it's what is the best clinical outcome for you. So we know that these kind of cancers respond brilliantly and have a very, very good outcome when managed with surgery. Now, the reason that we like to take out the entire gland is that normally if we only took out half the gland, then there's a follow-up treatment that we wouldn't be able to give. There's another treatment that we sometimes offer called radioiodine. Have you heard of this? Was this discussed?
No. Radio iodine. I've heard of iodine. Iodine. Iodine.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, not a problem at all. So I'm just gonna I'm flicking back to the last letter. So Mr. Burke talked through that the optimal. So again, he said the word optimal. I'm going to use the term gold standard because I think it's a nice term. So the gold standard treatment is a total thyroidectomy, usually, not always, but usually followed with a medicine called radioiodine. Radioiodine just is a medication that it basically targets any little cells that aren't within the thyroid. So it's like a cleaning up agent, if you like. It's there to sort of make sure that anything microscopic that a surgeon can't see with his eyes is also treated. Now, if you only took out half of the thyroid, you wouldn't be able to give this medication because all that medication will just travel into the remaining thyroid gland and sit there. It's not going to do anything that's,
Okay.
helpful for the purposes of why they're giving the treatment. So that is why we usually like to do the full thyroidectomy, and then generally, depending on the results, we then offer you radioiodine treatment as well. It's
Okay. Uh,
it's completely understandable to want to take some time to think about everything, and I can see that when you had a chat with Mr. Verk, we said the best thing to do would be, in that case, to repeat the ultrasound in 2 months, and we can reassess the situation.
Yeah.
And that was in early November, so 2 months then would be sort of early January time.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So that's also why it's good to have my number, because what I can do, I can book you back in to come and have an ultrasound with our consultant radiologist in our clinic in January,
Yeah.
so that, you're not having to go back through other departments. We can keep you with us and keep everything nice and simple and centralized. And you can also have another chat with Mr. Verk then as well.
Yeah.
If you want to come and see Mr. Verk again sooner to discuss things again, if you've got more questions.
Yeah. What stage cancer is it?
Stage. So with cancer staging, they all work a little bit differently. So thyroid cancers, until it's very hard to give a staging when the gland is still in you, because we can only go by what we see on, say, a scan, or the type of cytology that we've already got from the cells. So that is a question I can't actually answer for you.
So all right.
But at the moment,
yeah,
it's localized at the moment to the thyroid. Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think that I was told by 3 different doctors that I was fine?
Oh, I mean, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? And you won't meet many healthcare professionals who would be happy to speak for someone else. And look, I'm a really, really simple person. I don't put words in other people's mouths, and I wouldn't want someone to do the same for me. But I can tell you one thing, and this is just my experience. So it's a bit of an anecdotal thing to say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But thyroid nodules, they are small, they're discreet, and you hear about some cancers that can cause really drastic, measurable kind of symptoms, like people losing huge amounts of weight, or having loads of night sweats, or unusual bleeding, or unusual bruising. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There are some cancers that have lots of real, what we call loud red flag signs.
Yeah.
Whereas things that are a bit more discreet, I could imagine maybe that is how other professionals maybe didn't detect that this was going on. But sometimes it is just because, it's more of a discreet presenting thing. In head and neck, we can see things that don't present the standard way, I guess, because they're quite unique to the specialty.
And
who had you seen before, out of interest? Was it a GP or?
I went to my GP. I went to Whipps Cross Hospital, and I went to Homerton Hospital. How does something like the thyroid cancer form? Do you know?
So there are certain.
Yeah, go on.
There are certain things that we could consider as risk factors, but in my experience, those risk factors don't really apply to most of the population. So one of the biggest ones is if you've been exposed to lots of radiation, or higher than average background radiation. Yeah. Now, again, in my career and experience, that doesn't fit the mold for lots of my patients. So sometimes it is just that, all our genes are all encoded, and sometimes something just happens spontaneously.
So
and they're what we call like a spontaneous.
So is it not fair to assume that it would have something to do with my diet?
No, I don't. I've not come across a particular dietary link. There are some studies that say that people who have an iodine deficient diet might be more inclined to have thyroid dysregulation, but I don't think that's specifically related to a cancer. I think it's more just to do with the regulation of the thyroid.
So you're saying that
I don't think there's anything.
So you're saying that if we eat garbage constantly, it's not going to reflect itself in forms of cancer?
The thyroid cancer, are we talking about, or are we talking about
cancer
more general now?
Cancer generally? Because I know there's many different ways you can catch cancer, but I'm concerned. I'll tell you what I'm concerned about with regards to the whole this so far. No one stopped to ask me any questions about my diet. I know that I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I'm not saying that I know more than more than a doctor either. But I know that certain foods that you may eat, sugar, for example, is not good for you in any way, shape, or form. So, in what way would sugar represent itself over a significant period of time, um, with regards to things like this? Meat, like these foods that we generally eat. I I'm definitely concerned with the fact that no doctor ever once asked me anything about my food.
I mean, there's a really simple answer. Is that I don't think it wouldn't be intrinsically relevant in the first and foremost in terms of we don't see people coming in and it's their diet that is causing this particular problem. Likewise, there's no need for you to now go and exclude anything from your diet. You don't need to cut anything out and you don't need to add anything in. The general advice we give to everyone in the context of cancer, and not actually, but just from general health, is to have a diet that is, rich in nutrients, that it's balanced in terms of your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats, and that it's as possible limited in terms of ultra processed foods. Doesn't
Okay.
mean you can't ever have them. I think never is a very difficult thing to apply to diets, because you've got to factor in things like, how are you going to afford this amazing diet? Where are you going to buy this amazing diet from? We've got to be realistic. Food's always got to be about nourishing us. That's the main priority, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
So I think probably most doctors haven't asked you about your diet because they're not concerned that it's going to be a key driver to the current problem that you've got. Okay.
All right. I asked that because in my personal experience, um, when I was complaining about the issue, I realized that the symptoms that I was having were exaggerated when I would eat certain sugary foods that I like to eat. So for example, when I went for the CT scan, um, I decided to have a 4 day fast, and I was 3 days into the 4 day fast when I went for the CT scan, and I was feeling considerably better. I was in a state of ketosis. I had checked, and as I say, when I went, I had I was feeling a lot better. Now, as soon as I was told this information by the doctor, I decided that I was going to change my diet instantly. And I have changed my diet. And since I've changed my diet, the reason why I came to see you guys is because of the cough. And I realized that when I stopped eating certain food, the cough actually also stopped. So that is something that for me, I definitely have to consider as a contributing factor to why to and to also make myself better. I believe that it should also be an option to consider my dietary habits as an alternative.
I mean, again, it's totally fine to think about optimizing your diet. And I'm not dismissing what you've experienced. I mean, let me give an example. For some people, they've eaten, they eat things like dairy. Now, we know that if you eat dairy, sometimes that can make you produce a bit more mucus. It's a natural bodily reaction. But if that happens and you find that you've got more phlegm or more catarrh, that could be linked with your cough. So if you cut dairy out, you might find that symptom improved. But it doesn't correlate or relate to the underlying thyroid issue. It's just something that isn't incidental. Okay, this actually was something from my diet that was maybe not the best thing for me, but it wouldn't have been linked with the original problem. It's
Would
just
you say
there in the
that
background.
milk or dairy is good for anybody?
I think as long as, yeah, I mean, look, if your body makes the required enzymes that you need to be able to break it down, then you should be fine with dairy. That's, yeah, as long as you can do that, then that's okay. It's an individual choice, whether you want it or not. That's not for me to comment on. I'm just, I'm a head and neck nurse. I'm not a dietitian, and I'm not a nutritionist.
Okay.
But good nutrition and some generalized advice obviously crosses over a lot into my work, because I have to get people through various treatments where we need to optimize their intake, their calories, their overall nutrition, your macronutrients, your micronutrients, all of those things. So it's a lot of a balancing act. So, if people want to change, or you want to change and adapt your diet, that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean,
no one has the right to tell you not to.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is removing my thyroid and having me on medication for the rest of my life. Yeah, and if I don't take the medication, I'm gonna feel terrible. That concerns me. Um, I yeah. As I say, this journey for me started with my feeling. It started with the feeling I have in my throat. And in the time from now till my next appointment, I'm going to be definitely experimenting with cutting out certain foods, and I would definitely need another check before any sort of anything happens with regards to cutting anything, because that for me is a absolute last resort.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that's fine. That's
yeah,
fine. That's absolutely fine. There's not a problem at all. You're well within your rights. There's no one is going to argue or give you a hard time for that. That's absolutely fine. And it's no one wants to do that.
yeah,
I think as long as I suppose the takeaway. I mean, it's nice to just have a chat today and touch base, because hopefully you can tell I'm pretty much a informal, quite direct person. So I'm always happy to have a chat with you if you've got questions.
yeah,
I'm an open book. So I think from my point of view, I'm very, very happy that we leave things as they are, if that's what you're happy with, and then I can touch base with you in the new year and arrange for you to have that repeat ultrasound.
right.
But I think from my point of view, and I'm sure, as Mr. Vett may have said, like, this problem will only go away with treatment. It's not going to get better with diet. Your symptoms might improve, like I said, using the dairy as an analogy, as an example. It might help with other things, and it might make things feel better, more comfortable. Brilliant. I hope that is the case, because I'd like you to be comfortable. But in terms of treating it, then it does need a form of treatment that wouldn't be able to be resolved with diet alone. But that's fine. You can look into everything you would like to. Did Mr. Rapp discuss any of the sort of online places you can go for further information?
He gave me a leaflet. He gave me a leaflet with some information. But
Okay.
yeah.
Have you looked online at all at the Macmillan website?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So, are you good with email and stuff like that?
Yeah. I'm good with email.
Okay. If you give me your email address, I can email you some links to some relevant thyroid bits on the Macmillan website, because there are different types of thyroid cancers. So I don't want you to spend ages looking at certain types that don't relate to you. So I
Yeah.
can send you the links for the stuff that is going to be most relevant.
Lovely.
You can have a look at that.
Yeah.
They also have some online forums, so maybe you can share your experience with other people, see what other people have experienced, see what works for others, what has and what hasn't. Just, it helps you inform your opinion, you know, because I don't want you to feel like we're saying, you know, no to everything. I think it's a good way of looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a look at that.
All right.
You've got my number.
Yeah.
My phone is working. It's just where it's been off for 5 weeks while I've been away. The battery is just being a bit slow to charge up. It's nearly there now.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to wait, you know, another day before calling you because I know as far as that you were eager to have a chat.
Yeah.
So.
No
does
problem.
that sound good to you?
Yeah. All right. I'll give you my email address.
Sure. Fire away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then shall I? Obviously, it goes without saying. Do you prefer Chris or Christopher?
Chris is fine.
Chris. Okay. It goes without saying, Chris. You can call me or email me back sooner than the new year if you'd like to. If you'd like to see Mr. Burke sooner. If you've got more questions, any of that, you can get in touch. But I will certainly give you a ring in the new year so that we can plan to get you in for another ultrasound and all the rest before your follow-up.
Yeah. And
I'll try and find that information. I'll try and find you a specific link on the website about why we want to take out ideally the entire thyroid rather than just half.
Yeah.
So that you can read up a bit more about that as well. Okay?
Lovely. All right, that's good.
All right, my love. Really nice to speak with you today.
And you. Take care.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, you too, love.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the conversation with the professional.